Good afternoon and welcome to Caroline Cymru revision session. The session will focus on GCSE Spanish and will be presented by Daniela Aguirre from e-sgol Penrose. The session will last around 45 minutes where the teacher will go through the relevant subject content. If you have any questions, please use the question and answer section and we will endeavour to answer your question during the session. The session will be recorded with the recording and any relevant resources uploaded to the e-sgol website in the Caroline Cymru area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome. Bienvenidos a la última sesión de español. We're going to focus today on the writing skills. So we're looking at preparing ourselves for the writing, spotting common mistakes, and some tips and practice, including some resources, some internet resources to help us. So if we look at here, we got a link to the adaptations for this summer. So the writing is still 25% of the whole grade, and so the translation from English or Welsh into Spanish has been removed. So there's not going to be the translation into Spanish task. Also, the topics of technology and social media, festival and celebrations, local and regional features and characteristics of Spanish-speaking countries, social issues and post-16 studies are not going to be assessed. So let's have a look. We're going to look at some writing tips and trying to understand how to mark up our time. So you want to look at how many marks are needed for each questions and how are they awarded. So we're looking at the marking scheme. You want to make sure that you understand how to divide your time accordingly to how many marks are given. So if you got more marks, you need to allow yourself a little bit more time to give that extra details. You want to be able to read the questions carefully and understand what exactly do you need to do. Style, register, so you want to think, who is your audience? What is the purpose of your article? Who are you writing for and why are you writing? You want to make a plan and make sure that you're not rushing during the writing time, but make the most of the allocated time, including leaving some time to check on your work and edit it as needed. So let's have a look at the first question taken from the foundation tier in 2009. Here you got a link again. Let's have a brief look at this in the past papers. I've showed this before, but just to remind ourselves, so you can filter here, go into past papers, and let's say if we look at 2019, this would be, if you, the foundation would be your unit 4 writing, sorry, for the foundation. So you click in here, and if you are on the higher level, then you'll have the higher tiers. As you can see, you got 1 hour and a half for the higher tier and 1 hour and 15 for the foundation tier. So let's have a look at the first question of the paper for the foundation tier. You will need to answer in full sentences to get the full marks. So for instance, you can say, mi pueblo es grande, so my town is big, but not just grande, not just big. So you want to have the full sentence, including the verb. So the first task that you got here is to write one full sentence in Spanish for each of the headings to update your blog. You got the description of your town, village, what there is in your town or your village, what you like or dislike about your town or your village, where your house is, how you travel in your town or in your village, your favorite place in your town or in your village. So we're going to look at how the marks are awarded. So there is maximum 12 marks, and 6 answers. So each sentence is marked to a maximum of 2 marks. to get to these 2 marks, the answers, they need to be in full sentences. They need to convey the meaning that is requested with a good degree of accuracy. So you can still do some minor mistakes. So for instance, sometimes you might do a little mistake with the gender or the agreements. So you could, sometimes you might be able to say los patatas, yeah, fritas, instead of las patatas fritas. So these would be considered a minor agreement, a minor mistake, but errors like the tenses of verbs, they are considered major mistakes. So you get 1 mark if you partially answer to that question with big mistakes. If you don't answer to the question, or if it's completely inappropriate to give the wrong answer, then there is no mark awarded. So let's have a look at this first little test. So is again the first question. We're given some sample answers with some mistakes. So take a minute to have a look at these sentences, and can you spot the mistakes? The first one says, for the description of your town, village, mi pueblo ser grande. Second one, what there is in your town or your village, en mi pueblo un castillo. What do you like or dislike about your town or village? Feo. Where are your houses? Mi casa estaré en la playa. How you travel in your town or your village? Yo viajé en coche. Your favorite place in your town or your village? No me gusta el museo. Take a minute. I'll leave a minute to try to spot the mistakes, and then we'll go through them one by one. Look at tenses, look at agreements, look if the sentence is appropriate to the question asked. So let's have a look. The first one, mi pueblo ser grande. So this is used the infinitive, my town to be big. So we need to conjugate properly with a correct tense. We want to say my town is big. So that would be mi pueblo es grande, not ser grande. And the second one, en mi pueblo un castillo, we're missing the verb. So we want to be able to say, in my town, there is a castle, whereas in here we just say, in my town, a castle. So, en mi pueblo hay un castillo. The next one, we can't be awarded the full marks because it's not in full sentence. So we just say feo. Yeah, my town, it's ugly. What you like or dislike. So to get a full mark, you want to give the full answer. So you could say, no me gusta mi pueblo porque es feo. I don't like my town because it is ugly. The next one, where your town is, and here is we use the future tense. My house will be by the beach, whereas is the appropriate tense is the present tense. Mi casa está cerca de la playa, nearby the beach. How do you travel in town or your village? Yo viajé en coche. Again, a tense mistake. So there's a past tense where you want to use a present tense to say how you usually travel in your town or village. So you could say, normalmente viajo en coche. And the last one, your favorite place in your town or village, you answer, no me gusta el museo, which is, this would be a 0 marks because it's completely relevant to the question. It's not answering the question. It says, I don't like the museum, whereas you want to give what's your favorite place. So instead we could have said, mi lugar favorito o mi lugar preferido es el museo. Some alternative answers could be mi pueblo or mi ciudad, es grande, es pequeño, es bonito, what there is in your town and village. En mi pueblo, en mi ciudad, hay un castillo, hay un museo, una piscina, muchas tiendas, hay una iglesia. Me gusta, no me gusta mi pueblo porque es demasiado pequeño, es demasiado grande, or to say what you like, dislike about something, you could say, lo bueno es que, o lo bueno de mi pueblo es que, lo malo es que, o lo malo de mi pueblo es que, what is good, yeah, lo bueno, or what is bad, yeah, or lo que me gusta, what I like, or lo que no me gusta, what I don't like. Some useful expressions. You could say where your house is. Mi casa está cerca de, nearby, de cerca de la playa, o en el centro de, in the center of, en el centro de la ciudad, en el centro del pueblo, or in the outskirts, en los afueras de, in the outskirts of the town. How you travel in your town or in your village, normalmente, or todos los días, every day, a menudo, often. Viajo en coche, travel by car. Viajo en bicicleta, I travel by bike. Voy a pie, I go by foot. And to say what's your favorite place in your town or your village, you could say mi lugar favorito es el museo, es el castillo, la piscina, la collina, el bosque, el río, el mar, la playa. Duolingo is a good website to carry on practicing vocabulary and sentence building. We can have a brief look at the website. So let's have a look at some learning. So you could see that there is different topics. And a good way to do it, so for instance, if you just started and you don't want to go through all the basics again, you could use these little towers, the checkpoints. So that gives you a challenge to unlock several skills. So you can start on the checkpoint here, and it gives you a little exercise that builds up in different mistakes. It's a good way to learn new skills. So do you say milk, leche, hombre, mujer?
Leche.
And carry on. So you're allowed to do 3 mistakes. So every time you do a mistake, you lose a heart. So, but if you manage to do them, you can unlock quite a few skills. So it's a good way to learn, to test your levels as well. So just going to show it again. So if you manage to do it, you can unlock all those skills. So intro, phrases, start, travel, restaurant, family, shopping, present tense, school, people. And as you can see, or you can practice them one by one. Yeah, so just click on the skill and carry on practicing. So I really recommend the Duolingo to develop your vocabulary. So let's carry on from here. And we're looking now at the overlap question. again from the past paper of 2019, is the same question for foundation. For foundation will be question 3, whereas for the higher it will be question 1. What you're required is to write 100 words in Spanish. To write, in this case, is escribe un artículo sobre tu colegio. Write an article about your school. And you're given 3 bullet points that you have to, tienes que incluir. So in this case, in this past paper, the 3 bullet points that are not optional, you must include are tu opinión de tu colegio, your opinion of the school, lo que estudiaste ayer, what did you study yesterday, lo que vas a estudiar mañana, what are you going to study tomorrow. So again, these 3 bullet points, they're not optionals, you must include them, and it's worthwhile to keep them in order so that you're using them as a bit of a checklist, you're not forgetting to write something. So let's have a look at that, how the marks are awarded. So to get to the top of the marking scheme, apologies. To get to the top of the marking scheme, you need to have a very good response. The information, the relevant information, is presented to meet all the requirements of the task. So that is your bullet point. This is your relevant information. How well do you answer to these bullet points? You're expressing facts, ideas, and opinions. We often stretch a lot that you need to share ideas and opinions, but facts is as much as important. So it's not, you need to say, for instance, what you like or dislike about your school, but you want to give some information about it. So that fact is not the same as your opinion. So you could say, en mi colegio hay muchas instalaciones. In my school, there is a lot of facilities. Mi colegio es moderno. My school is modern. Mi colegio es pequeño. My school is small. These are all facts. Is there a lot of classrooms? Fact. Teachers are nice, or this will be an idea or an opinion. So to express an opinion, en mi opinión, mi colegio es muy bueno. In my opinion, the school is really good. Porque es muy moderno. So you're giving the reasons. You want also to include, apologies, a good variety of vocabulary and grammatical structures, and you want to try to attempt complex structures. So it's important that you familiarize yourself again with the vocabulary. As we said, Duolingo is a good way to practice the vocabulary, to drill it, to memorize it, and make sure that you're familiar with your grammar as well, variety of tenses. You can do some minor errors like agreements, but to get to the higher band, you want to have a very good level of accuracy, in particular with present, past, and future tense. So let's have a look at some tips. So if, first of all, it's important to plan your answer. So this is an idea, an example of a planning, but you might have a different style, but this might help. So you could start with your question. In this case, what was the key topic? The key topic was mi colegio. So the key question is, what's your school like? Talking about your school. Yeah. You could start with a little introduction. This could be a very simple and synthetic sentence to introduce your article, and you could introduce what are you going to talk about. You can declare it clearly. So you could say, hoy voy a hablar de mi colegio. Today I'm going to talk about my school. What was requested in the 3 bullet points, again, it was your opinion about your school. lo que estudiaste ayer. So this could be your first, the bullet points could be your first, second, and third paragraph. What do you think about your school? What did you study yesterday? What are you going to study tomorrow? And you can finish your planning with some conclusions where you can recap your ideas and give a final opinion. So for instance, en conclusión, mi colegio es genial. So in here, as you can see, you are requested to use the past tense. Yeah, so ayer, yesterday. Here, mañana, you're required to use your future tense. And in here is your present tense. Present, past, future. Okay. So make sure that you revise them, present, past, future, of regular and irregular verbs. We did a session before on grammar verbs recap. So I put a link here. You can have a look at it. There is the recording and the resources as well. So it's worthwhile making sure that you're familiar with those. So once, it should take about 5 minutes, spend maybe 5 minutes of your time to plan the structure of your writing. So what do you think about your school? Include some facts. It could be, so think that the person that is reading about your article doesn't know anything about your school. So you could say, mi colegio se llama, what is your school called, where is it, se encuentra en el oeste del Gales. Es un colegio muy bonito porque es moderno, es muy grande y tiene muchas instalaciones. En mi colegio hay 500 estudiantes y 40 profesores. So in my school, there are 500 students and 40 teachers. Me gusta mucho mi colegio, and then you give in your opinion of your school. Develop your second paragraph. What did you study? What was it like? What did you learn? What was your opinion about it? And what are you going to study tomorrow? Can you stretch it using saying what you would like to study? Could you add a bit of a conditional tense? Me gustaría. And impress your examiner. So make sure you practice some ideas. Again, flashcards, mind maps are a really good tool to practice. Highlighters and taking notes in your taking notes in your own paper. There is some revisions resources that is useful having a look at. So for instance, if you open the WGCSE website, and here you got some GCSE Spanish knowledge organizers. So in this case, you'll be looking at the topic of school and college life. So for instance, if you are practicing, you could start, there is quite a bit of useful vocabulary. So for instance, give some information, you could give some information about your school building in here. So there is some vocabulary. So is there a gimnasio in your school? Is there una cantina? Do you like la cantina, el comedor? Does it got la comida sana o es comida basura? Have you got una biblioteca? ¿Cómo es la biblioteca? ¿Es grande? ¿Es pequeña? Do you have laboratorios? Are they new? Are they old? What is it like? So give your opinion. There is a few more information, more useful vocabulary like break. So you could say, for instance, the opinion, creo que el recreo no sea bastante largo, o sea bastante largo. So you're saying the break is not long enough, or is long enough. What do you do then? What did you study yesterday? ¿Qué actividades hiciste en tu colegio ayer? What did you do yesterday? Ayer fui, yesterday I went al club de, to the club of. Hice mis deberes, did my homework. Jugué, yeah, I played. Jugué al fútbol o jugué al baloncesto. Practiqué la guitarra, I practiced guitar. Hice un curso de arte. I did a class of art. You could as well, so another idea, ¿qué piensas de tu colegio? Some expressions like diría que, I would say that mi colegio es, my school is, ya que en mi opinión, because in my opinion, I or no I, there are or there aren't. This one, ¿cómo es tu colegio? Mi colegio es, my school is bastante grande, quite big, bastante pequeño, quite small. El edificio es moderno, the building is modern, el edificio es antiguo, is old. There is or there are. Profesores y alumnos, how many? Hay 40 profesores, 40 teachers, y 1200 alumnos, 1200 kids. Hay muchas instalaciones, por ejemplo. So develop your paragraphs. Make sure that you use these mind maps, these knowledge organizers to support you. There is some useful verbs as well in here, like to start, empezar, durar, to last, castigar. As you can see, they're all in the infinitive, so make sure that you're able to form past, present, and future for those. If we carry on, so a good exercise is to practice, for instance, a past paper like this one. Practice doing a mind map and then use the knowledge organizers to support your writing. For the higher tier, there is another question as well. You have a choice. It's worth 28 marks. You can write question A or question B. So let's have a look at the question. It says, escribe un artículo para un periódico sobre uno de los temas siguientes, en español. I'm trying to... De los temas siguientes en español. Da información, ejemplo y justifica tus opiniones. Puedes utilizar los puntos como una ayuda. So you're going to write an article for a newspaper. So it needs to be a little bit more formal or about one of the following topics in Spanish. Give information, example, and justify your opinions. So again, you want to give not only the opinion, not only es importante, not only say that it's important, but say what is important. So you want to give that information. You, in this case, you don't have to use these bullet points, but you can use these bullet points. So puedes utilizar los puntos como una ayuda. If you're comfortable with those, it's worthwhile doing it because they're already structured. So you can choose from question A or question B. So question A in this case is España y el medio ambiente, Spain and the environment. the 3 bullet points that are given as a help us, tus opiniones sobre los asuntos medioambientales en España, el asunto que te preocupa más o menos, lo que hiciste el año pasado para ayudar al medio ambiente. So your opinion about the environment in Spain, what is the problem that worries you more or less, and what did you do last year to support with the environment? So make sure that you've included all 3 bullet points and all aspects of each bullet point, and check your agreements. So to plan, make sure that to do a good answer, make sure again you plan, and that you jot down all the ideas that you want to write about. As we said, you can use these points as support, but you're not limited to the points as long as the content is relevant. You need to make sure that you're including accurate grammar structures. If you can, complex or standard structures. Try to include conjugations, conjunctions, pronouns, adverbs, verbs, adjectives, superlatives, comparatives. So it's more important than, less important than. There's a comparative, a superlative is the best or is the worst, the highest, and so on. Make sure you're giving opinions and you justify them. So why do you think something? And make sure that your writing is appropriate for the audience. So you're asking yourself, who are you writing to? What is the register that you're going to use? Is it formal? Is it informal? Again, tenses, they're important, so make sure that you go through them, that you do exercise them and memorize them, and try to use a variety of tenses. Again, make sure you plan your answers, and we're gonna focus now, we're gonna give an example focusing on the question 8 that we just seen earlier on the environment. So in here, I've done again, as we've seen, a planning. So we got the question, what is the question? What is the key topic? Which is the environment, el medio ambiente. In the introduction, you want to give a simple synthetic sentence to introduce. What are you going to talk about? You can declare it. En este artículo voy a hablar de los problemas medioambientales. In this article, I'm going to talk about the environmental problem. It's giving your audience, the person that is reading, your reader, a clear understanding of where you're going to. So you're going to start with the first one, saying, you're giving your opinion about what are the most important problems that you find in Spain. So state them. What are those? What do you think about us? Second paragraph, you want to develop the problem that is worrying you most or less. Third paragraph, what did you do last year to support the environment? And you want to try to give some conclusions. Finally, the environment is for everyone, and we all have to look after it. Finalmente, el medio ambiente es de todos y hay que cuidarlo junto. It could be a small sentence. To develop, again, if we look at the support that is given to us in the WJC website, in this case, you're looking at the mind map about the environment, and you can use it again. You can find several words to support. So, for instance, when you're asked in here opinions about the environmental problem, you might want to start stating them. So, what are they? Yeah, los problemas. You could say things like, es innegable que it's undeniable that es innegable que hayan muchos problemas medioambientales, tales que la contaminación del aire y del agua, la deforestación y las inundaciones. So it's undeniable that there are many environmental problems such as contamination, state a few. Yeah, so that could be an example of a start. Then you were asked to give your opinion. So you could say something like, es difícil dar una opinión, pero es fundamental que todos nos preocupamos del problema porque es un tema muy importante. So you could say something like, it is difficult to give an opinion, but it's important that we all look at this problem because it's very important, or is muy preocupante, is very worrying, for instance. Then you were asked again to look at what is, in detail, the problem that worries you the most. So what is it in between these problems that worries you the most? What kind of solutions do you think that we should use? That's something that you could also develop. Is it recycling? Is using more public transport? Not using plastic bags? What is it? And then again, so you could the last paragraph is again in the past tense. What did you do last year to look after the environment? So you could, you got a good section in here. What do I do to help the environment? Reciclo. So what do you recycle? Do you recycle bottles, cardboard, tins and can, papel, plástico, vidrio? Ahorro, I save. So if you want to do, this is obviously in the present tense, you need to conjugate it. So, el año pasado me apunté a un grupo de reciclaje y todos los fines de semana nos hemos encontrado para recoger la basura en la playa. Last year, I signed up to a group of recycling, and every week we met to pick up the rubbish that we found on the beach. So that's another idea. El año pasado evité ir al instituto en coche. I avoided to go to school by car. So quite a few good expressions and some quick questions and answers that could help. So, for instance, ¿qué cosas ecológicas hiciste ayer? What did you do yesterday? So instead of ayer, you could use el año pasado, last year. Ayer me duché en vez de bañarme para ahorrar agua y utilicé el transporte público en vez de ir al colegio en coche. Yesterday I had a shower instead of having a bath to save water, and I used the public transport instead of going to school by car. También, also, yeah, so make sure you use connectives. Apagué las luces, I've turned off the lights, y separé la basura, and I divided the rubbish. Yeah, another good expression is en vez de, instead of. So it's worthwhile familiarizing yourselves, creating mind maps that help you to develop this vocabulary. I just wanted to show you as well. Again, just on another few tools. Another good tool is the stories on Duolingo. There is a few on different topics. So there is some as well on on recycling as well and on the environment. So have a look at those. So this has escaped now, but look at the topics, and it's worthwhile looking at these questions, at these little stories, yeah, to develop the. There we go. Recycling is important. To develop vocabulary.
El reciclaje es importante.
So,
Junior está ayudando a Sari con un proyecto para la escuela.
Junior is helping Sari with a project for
Mi
the
proyecto
school.
de arte es sobre el reciclaje.
My art work is about recycling. So Sari is working on a school project about recycling. So there's little exercise.
El reciclaje es muy importante.
That can help us develop our vocabulary. So as well, another useful thing, useful tool is Quizlet, which has got quite a lot of flashcards. So for instance, you got in here to say to turn off, apagar. So for instance, apagar las luces, or la contaminación, pollution. So just to try to test yourself with learning. So we got dañar, to damage or to spoil, el edificio, a building. So there's quite a few to help memorize different type of vocabulary. So we're gonna. So again, to access the highest marks, you want to have an excellent response, which is relevant and very detailed. So vocabulary key, you're presenting information in relationship to the task, as well as your facts, ideas, and opinion. And communication is clear, yeah, so your message is clear. There is a good variety of vocabulary and grammatical structures. With a good level of accuracy and success in your reference to past, present and future events, with a good understanding of style and register. So make sure that you practice. To summarize, make sure you address all the information that is required, allocate more time to the longer questions, check your words counts, don't go over the limit, use a good variety of vocabulary and expressions, include a variety of grammatical structures, check your register, include different answers, give opinions and justify them, so give reasons for your opinion, make a plan to structure your writings, and leave a little bit of time in the end to check your work and make sure that it's accurate and is clear.